it's very easy to kind of walk away. Like it's always easy to just set down the pen and paper and just go do something else. But I don't personally want to live knowing that I didn't actually try. There's definitely things I've given up on in life. Like I wanted to play piano. I'm awful. I don't play piano. I totally quit that. Like you don't have to completely finish everything that you've started. But if this is like a project of yours that like you feel passionately about, like try and persevere to get yourself through it, because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, someone else just did that and I totally could have done it. Why did I stop?
Fear stops us from achieving our true greatness. Are you a professional woman who is feeling stuck, unmotivated, or burned out? Are you worried about your wellness? Are you letting fear stop you from crushing your goals? If you answered yes to any or all of these, then this is the podcast for you. Dr. Charmaine Gregory, night shift emergency physician, burnout thriver, and wellness champion, along with everyday heroes just like you, will explore how to face fear in our lives and emerge victoriously.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. Be sure to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. It only takes 2 seconds to make 2 clicks. So let's do it. Let's get back to the video. Hello, Fearless Freedom Tribe. It's Dr. G, and we are back with another exciting episode of the Fearless Freedom with Dr. G podcast. Today, we have with us in the studio, well, the virtual studio, Elizabeth Arnold. Elizabeth, you want to tell everybody about who you are and what you're up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody, fellow listeners. I'm really excited to be here. I am Elizabeth Arnold. I am founder of Flip App, which is an app that is connecting users to each other based on their sports and hobby interests. It's been an interesting journey being a non-technical person, making a technical project. So I'm hoping we can dive into some of those fears.
Yes. I'm sure there are plenty there. As somebody who is like very not anti-tech, but like I break things, or I'm like, I don't know how this works. And my husband's like, just press the on button. It's not that hard. Not that hard. So I am very interested in hearing how you got involved with an app and how that all evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's kind of funny how things like end up working in your life. I had actually come up with this idea when I came back from being in Costa Rica. So a little bit of backstory is in my early 20s, I ended up leaving my home in Michigan. I left my boyfriend. I gave my cat to my parents. I moved out of my house. I broke a lease. I quit my job, and I took this volunteer opportunity to go work and live in Costa Rica as a yoga teacher for 8 months, which was a huge step. I don't know any Spanish. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was just like this crazy, thing I just like had to go do. And I got this opportunity. And so long story short, I went to Costa Rica. It was supposed to be 8 months, ended up being 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, yeah, time just flies. But in the process of that, I built like a yoga and surf hotel. And then the time had come for me to kind of sell that and move on. So I moved back to Michigan, where my family was and my life was before I had left for Costa Rica. And in the process of moving back, I didn't really know what I wanted to do or who I was anymore in that setting. And it really occurred to me how hard it is to meet people as an adult if you're not, in college, or you're not really in that really cliquey kind of work community. And so I was trying to join clubs, but like the people weren't really fitting me. And I didn't, who I was a totally different person than who I had been before. So my friend group previously was just not really like the same feeling I wanted to be a part of anymore.
Right.
And so over time, it kind of just occurred to me that it really shouldn't be this difficult to meet other people. And, at the time, all the apps like Tinder and Bumble and whatever are all coming out. And it's like this new thing. And I'm like, well, one of these people is going to make something that's just going to like match other people using sports is essentially it, or hobbies or interests. And it never happened. Oh. And then it just like never happened. And I was like, why is nobody doing this? This seems like such a quick win. And so I started doing it. Like I ended up moving out to California, and it hit me again how hard it was to find people that, enjoy the same things I do, like who can rock climb on my level or who can play tennis, at my beginner stage. So I don't feel like a total idiot when I'm on the court. And so I just started making it. And that's kind of how the idea for Flip was born, was just this need in my own life.
Okay. Yeah. It just, those are like the best ones, because when we're attacking our own pain point, somehow we find many others who are having the same one. So yeah, nah, that's cool. And then you had it, where you experienced it kind of twice, it sounds like. So when you went back to Michigan, you kind of felt out of sorts because you had evolved beyond your peer group that, you had before.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you said, I mean, that is the thing that is unique about trying to make friends in adulthood when you're not in a space where it's like cultivated, I would say.
Uh-huh.
So like, if you're in college or grad school, or if you are in a work environment, if you're on a team, like that is like a built-in infrastructure for creating relationships and interactions. Whereas if you're not in any of those things at the time, then basically, you're like screwed. Like there's no way really to really link up with those that have common interest with you. So you saw that when you moved back to Michigan, and then you also saw it
Mm-hmm.
again when you went to California. And so it just basically was a little bit of proof of concept before you even got started with the app, which is pretty neat. Most people don't
Yeah.
get that. Like, you identify the pain point, and then you're like, I think it's a great idea. And then you start working on it, but you don't always get like confirmation of two different data points to tell you that, yeah, this is the thing that's going to work. So
Yeah.
so you're in this space and you're like, okay, crap. I'm not technically savvy, right? You told me this. You told me you weren't technically savvy.
Yeah.
And so, there you are, not technically savvy, but you have a tech idea. What was the thing? Like, what did you do next? Like, how did you make it happen?
Yeah. I mean, the struggle is real when it when it comes to being a non-tech founder trying to do something tech. And almost every other day I'm like, I should just sign up for coding classes. Like, screw this, I'm signing up for coding classes. But no, I have a very good friend who happens to be a software developer, who helped me to kind of just get the concept off the ground to the point where I could intelligently talk about it to other people that can help actually leverage to make it happen. So it was really cool having them by my side for that process. And I ended up, we're still in this weird flux at this very moment. So there's always like something that comes up, as you're starting a business. But I started with an accelerator program that would help me to launch the business. And they would like develop the app and kind of be the development team for that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But we're also trying to look for an in-house technical co-founder to really come in and like step up the game even faster. So it's kind of like you just had to search. And there's so much information out there when you're starting something that it can be really overwhelming and super intimidating, especially if you don't come from that background at all. So a lot of weeding through and meetup groups and webinars attended and networking events. I emailed so many people. I was just like, hi, is this something I can do?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. So how did you deal with the fear of not knowing? I kind of get a sense of, you kind of told a little bit about how you dealt with it. Like, it sounds like you just took an action. Like, you're like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to talk to some people and see maybe they can help me, since I don't know what I'm doing. Or I'm going to link up with people who seem to know what they're doing and see if they can direct me. But how did you figure out like what you're going to do to face that fear?
Yeah. I still get nervous when I'm reaching out to new people, like cold reached out emails and things like that. Like my palms get sweaty. It's intimidating for me. And I don't know why. I think it's because I care that people like me. And I don't want to come off as somebody like not liking me or like thinking that what I'm doing is like stupid or whatever kind of weird thing goes through your head.
Yeah.
So, some of it is I always have the Nike logo in the back of my head for some reason. It's like, just do it. And honestly,
Oh,
like
I
just do
was like the
it.
Nike logo. I'm like, where's she going with this? But yes, the
Yeah,
just do it part. Absolutely.
absolutely. And I was like, if I don't do this, then I'm not going to ever know if it's something that could come about. And I've thought about it for so long and no one else was really doing it at the time that I'm like, I might as well just like try this because I'm not losing anything by just
Right.
giving it a shot. You know, I don't have millions of dollars to invest and lose on my own thing. Like hopefully that's what someone else can help me with to make it succeed. But
Right.
yeah, so it's kind of like you really have to take that leap of faith. And I learned a lot about that through yoga and through moving to Costa Rica, and that whole like life experience has really transitioned over towards helping to build this business, because you have to break down those fears in order to accelerate yourself forward.
No, truth. There's truth there. And so at this point, it sounds like so are you in the like the business development point? Like where or are we still developing the app? I'm trying to
Yeah.
get a sense of where you are.
Yeah, so it's still in development. We hope to have something out honestly in the next few weeks, which would be
Okay.
really cool, and just kind of do like the beta testing from there. But yeah, so we're still in the development process, and getting that underway. So it's just it's been a long journey.
Yes, 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 yes. Truth. I yeah, I can't relate to the app itself, but yes, the entrepreneurial journey can sometimes be quite lengthy. The key is just to kind of stay the course because, it is right when you think that you are not going to be able to go any further that the thing breaks through and you're like, okay, I'm glad I didn't quit.
Yeah, and
So
that's so true too. It's very easy to kind of walk away. Like it's always easy to just set down the pen and paper and just go do something else. But I don't personally want to live knowing that I didn't actually try. There's definitely
mhm.
things I've given up on in life. Like I wanted to play piano. I'm awful. I don't play piano. I totally quit that. Like you don't have to completely finish everything that you've started, but if this is like a project of yours that like you feel passionately about, like try and persevere to get yourself through it, because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, someone else just did that and I totally could have done it. Why did I stop? Like I don't want to give this to someone else without knowing that I did what I could to try and get it to where I wanted it to be.
Definitely, definitely. That whole like regret is pretty powerful
Yeah.
motivator. It's like, okay, now I'm not gonna be that person that's like, oh my God, I wish I'd done that thing. No, I'm gonna be that. I did it. It may not have worked or it did work,
Right.
but at least I did it. Right. So no,
Exactly.
that's key. That's key. That's awesome. And then so is that the only thing that you're doing right now in Cali, or are you up to you still teaching yoga or what are you doing?
Yeah. So I'm actually, if there's anybody out there that's listening that's, wants to start a business, you don't have to quit your entire life to start a business. And I don't think anybody really knows this. Because it's, you find so many entrepreneurs that are like, yeah, I just started this such and such and quit everything and just focused all my time. And like, that's awesome. But that is just not in the cards for me, especially in California, which is, just
Very
obscenely
expensive.
expensive to be out here. It's crazy. So I actually work remote for a startup company that's based out of San Francisco right now. So I have a full-time job and I'm literally like running this business in any amount of spare time that I have, that I can, fit in between meetings, and I can run and go do something for it. So it is a lot to balance. And I definitely give up sleep and maybe a little bit of a healthier lifestyle that I should be living, but it's an exchange. So I do actually still work full time.
Gotcha. Yeah, so it's funny that you mentioned that because that is I would say maybe it's just my it's selective to the people that I surround myself with, but like all the entrepreneurs that I personally know, they have full-time jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So, and
true.
it's the same thing. It's like you work on your passion project in pockets of time, you like sacrifice certain things to try to like get moving forward. So it may not necessarily move forward as quickly as you would like, but you have to keep living, right? Until your dream gets
Mhm.
realized. So, that's just practical advice. That's good. Yeah, no. So that's great. And then so you definitely recognize the fear. You're facing it by, seeking counsel and trying to figure out how to make the thing happen. You're also doing some risk management too, because having a job obviously is some level of risk management, right? Because a lot of times we do get very excited about our passions and our dreams, and we think, oh, I'm just gonna like risk it all, and
Dive right in.
and then you have to, that's frontal lobe, and the frontal lobe kicks in, and it's like, wait, no, let's just risk a little bit at a time, like in increments, because you get that compound effect from like the compounded little bits of risk that will lead to the big risk when you've not lost your shirt in the process. So no, that's a pretty good point. So yeah, so facing fear in a lot of fronts. And so with this position that you have with the startup in San Fran, is that in your area of expertise, having to do with wellness, or no?
No, actually.
Okay.
It's a really cool program. It's called Acquire. And it's a new app that's for e-commerce stores. So what they do is they've built this, beautiful checkout process landing page. And so I step in and I help merchants that own these e-commerce stores, which are a lot of entrepreneurs themselves, figure out what are some marketing strategies and best ways that they can use it. So it definitely falls into my wheelhouse of like marketing and branding, and kind of that life of growing a business that I know and understand well, and can leverage in both areas of my life. But it doesn't really have anything to do with health and wellness. That's like
that's interesting.
My side life.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's good. It's good to have diversity for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, it's Dr. G, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank you for listening to this episode. I'm so honored to have you here with me. Did you know that I can help you to get your own podcast started? With my podcasting launch course for professionals, I walk you through everything you need to know about starting a podcast. I'm with you every step of the way, from sign up to launching your show, with 5 episodes ready to go. There's a done for you version that's also available. If you would just rather just do recordings and leave the behind the scenes work up to us, then that one is definitely for you. But either way, we've got your back here at Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Oh, if you already have a show and you need production services, we have monthly plans available for you. So check out the links in the episode show notes for more information. Let's get back to the show. And then, so how are people going to track your progress? So now people are going to listen to this and they're going to be like, all right, we're looking for Flip. Like we're looking out for it. How are they going to be able to track that?
Yeah, we do a lot of posting on Instagram. And then of course, like an email newsletter. So they can go to the website, goflip.io, and sign up, and they'll get newsletters like occasionally when I have the time to be like, sure, hey, we're coming to like this area and this area. So we're going to do a little like city by city, kind of roll out in the next few weeks as we get there, which is pretty exciting. So we get to really dive into those communities. And I think that community growth is really important, especially coming out of this whole like hunkered down COVID 2-year long haul situation. Like, not only are you probably still working from home and will remain probably doing continue that. Yeah. Like, so now you've like lost the ability to like make new coworker friends or whatever that looks like. Like, you're probably also really comfy in your little office, which is great, but maybe you want to like go and like learn something new. And so we're doing a lot of partnerships with local community gyms and, fitness clothing stores and health and wellness stores and things of that sort to try and get the word out there to get people to go out and be active, because you have to stay healthy. Like, you have to stay active, connect to nature. It's really important to do that.
Absolutely. And then, so you have to, for those who are not, don't have the show notes readily available, you have to let us know how you spell Flip, so they could find it on Instagram or
F-L-I-P.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying, it could be something clever. I'm just wondering. So it's just Flip on Instagram.
Yep. It's Go Flip. So they can
Go
find it
flip.
on there.
Go flip. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. See, they would have
Yeah.
gone and did flip and wouldn't have found it.
Yeah. No, it stands for find local individual players. So we made
Nice.
a little acronym to make it work.
Nice. Awesome. And so once this is all out and it is running, what do you think the next venture is going to be? Or have you thought that far ahead?
I haven't actually. So I love this and bringing communities together. So I think a lot of what we want to do is expand this to actually host local events for people that want to do something. So for example, I know that kayaking is really popular in New York. So like we want to team up with local places and host like big kayaking and racing events, or basketball tournaments in Philadelphia or whatever that kind of looks like. So I think there's going to be a lot of community growth and development, and I want to aim and steer this company to be a partner with other really cool projects and apps that are out there, like All Trails and other types of apps that you use to get outside and find new people. So that's kind of where we're going, like with Flip in the long run. But then after that, I don't know, probably surfing on some beach somewhere.
There you go.
That's the goal.
Retire
Yeah,
to the beach.
retire.
Oh, that's great. It's awesome. Awesome. All right. So, like that is, kudos to you for pursuing a dream, because I think like, I wish more people did that. You know what I mean? Like I talk to people and, when I talk to other entrepreneurs, we're all kind of thinking the same, right? We're all like, yeah, we'll try that thing. And, let's keep trying stuff because something's going to hit or we're constantly ready to try the next thing and push ourselves. But, in general, people really aren't like that. They've been conditioned for a long time to pretty much just stay the path, stay in the box. And, entrepreneurship is not on the path or in the box. And so, it definitely selects certain kind of individuals that are, basically wanting to make a difference. So kudos for definitely pursuing that and making it happen. And then so now, what were you gonna say?
No, I was agreeing with you. It's definitely is not for everyone.
It's not for the faint-hearted. I tell people too, they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, look, it is not for the weak-hearted or the weak mind person. It is really not. Like, if you're motivated only by external, like positive, like impact or feedback, this is not for you.
Yeah, it is. If you learn something new every day and you get shot down really often, shot down in really nice ways typically, but like you're pretty much shot down like all the time and you're like, cool. Like, am I crazy?
And then it's crazy because you literally at some point you become you start to actually go for the no's, right? Because they're like, you know what, these no's are making me tougher, they're making me stronger, like I could do this, and then you're pleasantly surprised when you go for the no's, you're pleasantly surprised when that yes comes, and then the next yes and the next yes. And so they're out there. But you're also pretty cognizant that a lot of no's are out there too. So you just got to prepare yourself for the no's. And then when you do, you have the mental toughness that puts you in line to get a yes. So, if you get that, you're good. But like most people don't get that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, there's a book called Rejection Proof. Have you read that one?
No, I haven't.
It's really fascinating. I actually listened to the audiobook when I was like making a long drive one day, but it's a really good book. And it's about this guy who had this like just crumbling fear of being rejected. Like he just could not handle it. And he ended up just challenging himself. And this was before like YouTube was even a thing. This is so long ago. He was making just live blog posts on like a live journal, I think. And it was like him videotaping himself being rejected for 365 days.
Wow.
And just so that he could overcome the fear. And then he really talks about like what that fear is like and working through it. And he's just the most humble and unique guy. But it's really cool. If anybody wants a very entertaining book, I highly recommend Rejection Proof to try and just learn how he got over this crumbling fear of rejection.
That's a pretty bold, fear-facing act that he did there. you know?
Yeah. I was like, wow, you're not only videotaping yourself getting rejected, you're like forcing yourself to go get rejected. So he was doing crazy things like walking up to random security guards and asking if they wanted to give him money, to like making somebody make him donuts, asking pilots to take them up in planes, like playing soccer in someone's
Wow.
yard, like just weird stuff, thinking that he would absolutely get no's. And then he ended up getting all these yeses. So he ended up
Wow.
doing like these
Some pretty
crazy
cool
things at the
things.
same
Yeah.
time. And he's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, I didn't really want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. Interesting outcome there. Wow. Yeah. Nah, I'm gonna have to look this book up. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's good.
that's neat. That is neat. And that's what happens though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
when you are willing to accept the no's, the yeses end up being good experiences, right? Because you put yourself out there. Anytime you put yourself out there and you are brave enough to, push past the fear, then incredible things inevitably happen. It's just
Mhm.
how the universe works. So yeah, no, that's really cool. Sounds like a really cool
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. And as a woman, especially as like a woman entrepreneur in tech,
Mhm.
you end up in a really male dominated world. And so I've been talking to a lot of other like female entrepreneurs and female VC venture funds and things of that sort. And they're like, you need to be way more bold in yours. Like, what if they say yes? And the thing is, like, as females, we tend to like hesitate a little bit more towards being more conservative and maybe a little bit more like honest and upfront with like the numbers or whatever. Whereas males are like, yeah, this is worth, $12 billion.
Yeah, they
And
just
you're like, you
guess.
have no basis
I'm
for
sorry,
this
my male
fact.
friends, but they do
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. And it's not everyone, absolutely. Like, I don't want to put
Right,
people
right.
in boxes, but it's kind of like a psychology thing to break down. And so I think women might, have a little bit harder time asking for more. So learning how to be rejected and understanding that process and overcoming that fear could probably help to just leverage you more in your own business if that's what you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's like it's the same thing with like asking for what you're worth, And we
Mm-hmm.
get into this like this is such a big deal because, like my husband, this is my husband's sayings, and he's probably gonna be a little embarrassed 'cause I said this, but he's like, you need to ball. What do you say? You gotta like be balls out, is what he says. He says, he's like, you know what? When you go in there, he's like, Charmaine, when you go in there, you better be balls out. And I'm like, what does that mean exactly? And he's like, stop being like a woman, like, be balls out, like pretend like you're a guy. Go in there and you're like, no, this is a non-negotiable. This is what I want. I mean, have things in your head that like you could kind of put on the table if you had
Yeah.
to, but start with a bold ask first. And then you put out that one thing that you can put on the table if it comes to that. But oftentimes we don't start with the bold ask because we're not balls out, right? We're like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, yeah, I think maybe I could get this. No, I want this. If I don't get
Yeah.
this, I'm walking.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
balls out.
Absolutely.
So this is a
Absolutely.
very different way, and it might have something to do with socialization. Like women, in general, again, generalizations, aren't really raised to be, staunch negotiators, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we don't do that. Like we don't negotiate for everything. My daughters do, but like in general, women typically don't
Yeah.
do that. And so you don't have the practice of standing firm on your negotiation points. And so when it comes to the big things that you have to negotiate, you just don't have the practice. And so you don't negotiate like your peer who's been negotiating his whole life in the playground, negotiate the
Mm-hmm.
playground. Nah, man, I'm gonna be doing this game. We're playing this game. You know, we're like, oh, you want to play that? Okay, yeah, let's play that. Like we
Yeah, we'll do
don't take a
whatever.
stand, right? Like whatever. Yeah. So it's just a very interesting thing to see.
Yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
it's very conditioned, I mean, I think it's changing now. I think as we're evolving, as women in a society and really taking our stand and our ground in these bigger positions we're seeing some of these women walk into, which is amazing. I think that the younger generation of females are going to be more, as your husband says, balls to the
Balls
wall.
out.
Balls out, is that it?
Balls out.
Balls out with, you know, whatever it is they're asking for. And that's really cool. And I'm super stoked to see that. You know, but for me and my age group and my generation, I'm kind of still like in training out of all the conditioning I had as a kid to kind of go against that. So it can feel a little weird and that can be a little scary and intimidating to change those habits you don't even realize that you have.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will tell you though, that as the decades go by, you become more comfortable being balls out. Just saying, just saying, because, you know, this is kind of how it goes. It's again, generalization, but like 20s, you're like, I'm trying to figure out who I am, you know, whatever. And then 30s, you're like, I'm starting to like get into my skin. And then 40s, you're like, I do not care what you think. I am doing it this way. That's basically how it goes.
I'm excited for that. I really am. I'm already liking my 30s way more than my 20s. Just for that fact.
It is. Yes. Yes. There's definitely an evolution and there's, I didn't believe it until I actually started living it. And it really is true. Like you get to be 40 and you're just like, you don't care what anybody thinks. You're just like, look, this is how it's going to be because I need to make sure that I'm happy.
You're right. I already know that I'm not going to like that. And I'm just going to say that right now.
That's right. Like don't waste your time. Cause you're like, I'm not going to waste my time. Like, why waste time? Like, no, time is essential and precious. I'm not going to waste it on foolishness. This is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to go. Either you're with me or you're not.
Yeah. You're going to help me get there or you're going to go in a different direction. Right. I'm busy.
Right. Exactly. It's pretty funny. It's funny. Awesome. So they know how to get in contact with you. So they know how to go to Go Flip on Instagram and check out the new developments so that when the app drops, they know where, if it's going to come to their city or not. So that's perfect. Are you ready then for the fill in the blanks? Our show tradition. Are you ready for that? Okay, awesome.
Let's do it.
All right. So the first one is, if I am fearless, I will
accomplish anything I want. Absolutely. No fear. Fear holds you back. And I am not fear, or if I am fearless, I will absolutely accomplish anything.
Nice. The next one is, to me, fearless freedom means.
To me, fearless freedom means passion. It means being really evolved in the passion that you have, and just sinking and going deep with that.
Love it. And then last but not least, my battle cry is,
just do it. Thanks, Nike.
Yeah, there's a switch in the back of your head there. Like, yeah,
all the time.
What should I do? Oh, yeah, Nike says I should do it.
Yeah,
I'm like, marketing.
Just do it. Just send the email.
Super simple.
Just do it.
Awesome. Yeah, indeed. Awesome. So we are going to be looking out for the drop of Flip and many successes from you and your crew.
Yeah, thanks so much for the time. It was great to chat. Happy to be a part of this.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fearless Freedom with Dr. G. Again, I'm Dr. G. And if you like this episode, be sure to subscribe so that you can get notified of when the next episode is going to be. And also, I'll catch you next time. Have a great one. Be strong, be brave, and unleash your greatness.